Hi and welcome to the Weekly Market Update. It's Tuesday the 25th of June 2013. Okay, so in terms of data this week, yesterday quite a quiet day. We saw German IFO data, a bit of a split picture there. The assessment of the current situation wasn't too good, came in a little bit weaker than expected, but the projections and the sentiment going forward in Germany actually came in a little bit better than expected. So overall, quite a good picture. Otherwise, we had Italian consumer confidence survey coming in a little bit better than expected. So that was yesterday. In terms of data today, from Europe again, we've seen a French business sentiment survey this morning, that coming in better than expected again. We've also had France in the news overnight, a piece in Le Figaro stating that France have actually underestimated their government debt by about 20 to 25 billion euros, taking it up to around about 80 billion. So it's quite a large chunk that they may have underestimated there in their figures, which could cause a few problems. Out of Italy this morning, we saw retail sales, and UK we had CBI reported sales. From the US this afternoon, we've actually had pretty decent data. Kicked off with durable goods, that came in at 3.6 when it was expected at 3%, so really good data. Otherwise, ex-defence and ex-air also better than expected readings there. Then we had some housing data, again coming in better than expected for the US there. And finally, we had a consumer confidence survey coming in at 81.4, which is much better than the 75.2% that we were expecting. So really good afternoon for the US in terms of data. So in terms of where it sort of leaves us trading, for stocks, obviously after we had Bernanke last week, after the FOMC decision and then also his speech and press conference post the meeting, we saw quite a large sell-off with his talk. He gave a bit of a better picture of the timeline that we might see with this tapering, looking into maybe tapering at the later part of this year, and looking into 2014 for that to slow and maybe even stop. Again, he reiterated that it is data dependent, but we saw quite a large sell-off in stocks on the back of this, but leaving us trading today with the Dow trading around the 14.720 mark. We've got the FTSE around 60.83. Again, on the back of Bernanke and also the good data that we've seen today, we've seen some strength in the dollar. We've got euro dollar trading around the 1.3120 and cable around the 1.5410 mark. And for commodities, again, we've seen some weakness there recently. Again, at the end of last week particularly, we've got gold trading around the 1273.20, that's the future, and the Brent future around the 101.19 mark. Okay, so looking ahead to the rest of the week, tomorrow, Wednesday, the data kicks off with German GfK survey, another sentiment survey there, expected just in line at 6.5. We've got the French Q1 final reading of that GDP for Q1, again expected in line with expectations, same as last. From the US, we've got further housing data. We've got mortgage applications. Previously they were down 3.3%, so watching out for that on the back of the stronger data that we saw today. We've also got the US Q1 GDP, another sort of firming up of the readings that we've seen in the estimates, and we've also got some personal consumption data as well. Into Thursday, we've got out of Europe. Thursday morning it's going to be German import price index, expecting the reading to be slightly higher than last, but still to remain negative. We've also got French consumer confidence, so you can see the themes throughout the week here. French consumer confidence, expecting that to tick up again to 81 from the 79. And we've got a German unemployment reading, expecting that to be the same as last, in line with expectation at 6.9%. Otherwise, out of Europe, we've got the Eurozone Business Climate Confidence Survey, again expecting that to come in a little bit higher. From the UK, we've got some current account data, expecting the deficit to shrink slightly there to come down to 11.9 billion, around that mark from the 14 that we saw last. We've got the final Q1 GDP reading for the UK, expected to stay at that 0.3%, just to come in line, so probably no surprises there, and some business inventories data. And then Thursday afternoon from the US, it brings the usual initial jobless and continuing claims, expecting initial jobless to tick down slightly there. We've got personal spending and also personal income data, expecting both to rise, but spending to rise slightly more than income. And then we get pending home sales, which we're expecting to increase as well, so expecting some strong data in terms of housing from the US this week. And finally into Friday, overnight we get some Japanese CPI data. Again, it's interesting to watch out for this Japanese inflation data on the back of the Corona coming in. Really they're aiming for that 2% target inflation, so see if they're making up any ground. We're expecting the readings to come in a little bit better, but we'll see what prevails. We've also got industrial production out of Japan. Also overnight we get a China business sentiment survey. China have been in the news over the weekend, sort of got a credit tightening over in China, and we saw the government not really inject or take any intervention, which some people were quite surprised at. It's being spoken about that they're trying to target that shadow banking sector to try and take out the inefficient lending of money, which could be sapping growth. They've already seen downward revisions of their growth, so they want to try and make the lending as efficient as possible. So we've seen a little bit of concerns over the tightening of the credit out in China, but we see that business sentiment survey overnight Friday, so maybe just something to watch out for in the bigger picture. From Germany, we've got retail sales, expecting them to come in positive 0.4 from negative 0.4 last. We've got French producer prices and consumer spending. Then we get Italian CPI as well as German CPI. We get all the regional readings and then a reading for Germany as a whole. From the US in the afternoon, we've got a Chicago Purchasing Managers Index, expecting that to be slightly lower than last. And then to finish off, we've got the University of Michigan Confidence Survey, expecting that to remain in line and same as last at 82.7. Okay, so that's it for this week. But as usual, please get in touch with any feedback. Thanks.